Okay, let's continue. Just to check again, have you received the emails?
Not yet. I haven't received the email.
Uh, Please just check on your emails and try to refresh or do a send and receive if you're using Outlook. Are you able to access the chats, right? On Teams?
Nope.
Oh,
Sorry?
No, there is no option for chat on Teams.
Okay. Right. But if you are able to send me a text on Teams, maybe please just do it so I can check if your email corresponds to the one that I have. The email that you registered with is the one that I'm sending to. Mandisi, I sent you the email to mmiholdings.co.za.
Maybe there is some delay, but I haven't received it yet.
Okay, all right. Okay, we can continue. Okay, guys, my name is Letu Shabalala. I am a Technology and Innovation Manager at GoDigitalSA Foundation, and we are also joined by Dave Semmeling, who is our Chief Technology Officer. If you can just greet Uncle Dave is right there. His nickname is Uncle Dave, by the way. So, but you can call him Mr. Semmeling or Dave or Uncle Dave. It's okay. The others can join us along the way. Let me just continue. So I just want to know, like, how many of you have experience using Azure? You can just raise your hand. You can use the emojis right there. Just raise your hand. I tried to do the polling, but the polling couldn't like agree with me today. Am I audible, guys? Are we still
I hear
here?
you.
All right. Okay. So, like I said, my name is Letu Shabalala. I don't know why I keep saying it. All right. And I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, which is how I'm able to train you today on Azure Fundamentals. So this session today, it is like this, and I hope that you are able to see the presentation. So we just started right now at 10:05, and we're gonna take a short break at 11 and continue after our short break, and then have a break of 15 minutes at 12. Continue on at 12:15 and have another short break at 1, and then continue our session and end it at 2 p.m. All right. So about this course provides the foundational level knowledge on cloud concepts, core Azure services, security, privacy, compliance, and trust, and Azure pricing and support. So it's just to like lay the foundations, just like how you build when you build a house, you start with the foundation first in order to you to be able to like balance out your house. The same way, this course right here is just to like lay you or just give you the fundamentals, the basic stuff that you need to know about Microsoft Azure. So that's why I was also asking like how many of you all have the experience of using Microsoft Azure. But not only Azure, if you have any other basic knowledge of any other cloud platform, it can be AWS, it can be Google Cloud, it can be IBM. That also gives you the basic knowledge of how the cloud technology works. So the audience for this course is just only for beginners. But even if you are aware or if you know something about Azure, you are like enabled or you are able to take the course if you just want to like get the certificate out of it. And this course is made up of two versions. There's a 1 day version, but that 1 day version just takes like the whole day. So I just decided to like make it to 2 sessions or 2 days version. Sorry about that. And then the content for both courses aligns to the AZ 900 exam. So if maybe after this boot camp you want to like take the exam, you can take the exam and I can help you out with like how to answer the questions. Um, Maybe, but then we can talk after tomorrow and then we can set up a session where I can help you to prepare for the exam. And there are no prerequisites for the course, but students with an IT background will find the concept easy to understand. Okay, with that point, it's uh it's 50-50 give or take because even a person without an IT background, if like you can just understand and do your research, you can be able to understand this. But it is they just put it as like with an IT background with just as like a basic concept. But anyway, yeah. All right. So our course agenda has like 6 domains or 6 modules. We're gonna cover cloud concepts for Azure or Azure. It depends on how you want to pronounce it. And we're gonna have core Azure services, core solutions and management tools, and general security and network security, identity governance, privacy and compliance. And then we're gonna cover Azure course management and service level agreements. But for today, we're just gonna do like the first 3 modules, which is the cloud concepts, core Azure services, core solutions, and management tools. If you want to take the exam again, you need to understand this, the study areas that you need to focus on. You need to be able to describe the cloud concepts. You need to be able to describe the core Azure services. The other thing that I need to note out right here, if you are taking the exam, you need to be able to do the simulations to like be able to build an Azure virtual machine. Uh, but those are just like some terms that maybe somebody who's new to all this will not be able to like grasp really easily. But I, okay, I'm a self-taught person, but it is really easy to like catch up to this stuff if only you practice. So I encourage practice a bit more than just knowing the theory alone. So we got like the study area and then the weight. So the weight's just like pictures or gives you like uh let's say an idea of how many questions you get on the exam. This is just only like if you want to take the exam after this boot camp. And again, I'll just emphasize this. After the boot camp, you can reach out to me and then we can set up a time and then I can prep you out for the exam. But this also covers most of the stuff that are in the exam. Okay. So for our labs, I was not able to get like those fancy labs for for our bootcamp because they are so costly. Okay, and then there's Microsoft Learn. If you're not aware of Microsoft Learn, I will show you Microsoft Learn. And on Microsoft Learn, you can use the sandboxes available for the course. But if there are no sandboxes available, we have the Microsoft Learning Azure Pass, of which by now you should have received an email. Let me just check. You should have received the email. Yeah, it has been sent out. You should just check your emails. There's an email. Okay, wait. All right. So I am getting responses. Thank you, Mandisi, for reviewing the email. That's the one with how to redeem your Azure Pass code. So we're gonna use our Azure credits. I was able to get credits for you so you can be able to do the practice on Microsoft Azure. Yeah. All right, so let's continue. So, sorry. So we're gonna start with our cloud concepts. Cloud concepts, firstly, the things that you're gonna know or learn after this module, you're gonna learn about cloud models, the public, private, and hybrid cloud, choosing the best for you. Like if you maybe like running a business and want to like know which type of cloud model you want to use for your business, then after this you'll be able to choose which cloud model you want to use. And then we will learn about the cloud benefits and considerations, and then we're gonna know like the different types of cloud services. Okay. All right. So we're gonna define cloud computing, define public cloud, describe um, private cloud, and describe hybrid cloud, and compare and contrast the three different cloud models. All right, before I continue, I'm used mostly. So I'm just gonna be more of a facilitator more than a trainer. So how many of us know what is a cloud? Not the cloud that brings rain, but how many of us know what we're talking about when you're speaking about a cloud? You can raise your hand and then you can enable your microphone and just say it out. It's okay. There's no wrong answer. We're all learning right here. Hello. Yes, Lungelo.
Yes, good morning. Yes, I am aware of what a cloud is, the basic concept of what a cloud is, yes.
Can you
You'd
tell
like
us a bit more?
Oh, yes. Okay, my English is not going to be so good, so I hope you understand.
It's okay.
But basically, what I understand by cloud storage is that, for instance, in our current devices, we have what we call local storage that we use without the requirement of internet or anything. And then cloud storage would be storage that is far from us, remote, not in our devices, and with internet to access. That's what I know about cloud storage.
Awesome. That's great. Awesome. Okay. Just another view is that you know how you store your stuff on your computer, but what happens when your services run out? I mean, like your resources. Let's say, like maybe you want to develop some applications. Maybe you want to develop an Android app, but your computer doesn't have like enough resources. Maybe you don't have enough storage, you don't have enough processing power. Maybe your CPU is not that enough to develop the apps, because I know with Visual Studio, it demands a lot. So if maybe you're a person who's using Visual Studio and you want to develop an app, then what option do you have um, to develop that app without having to experience a lot of latency and have like a lot of glitches? So that's where cloud computing comes in, especially with Azure, IBM, and AWS. Uh, but before I get into that, I just want to say like, okay, if I was able to draw, I would have drawn it out. But let me just try. It's say I have a computer right here. I cannot draw. Please don't laugh at me. I have a computer here, and I would like to store my files where I can actually easily access them. And maybe the other thing would be, let's say maybe experiencing a lot of power issues in my area, just like load shedding. So this is where the cloud computing comes in. With cloud computing, okay, this is like grade one learner drawing. Um, so let's say this is Microsoft, okay? Microsoft then gives you resources to use. And these resources, you get storage, you get, what else? You get like processors, you get like memory to use, and you pay like a certain fee to be able to access those, just like how you use Google Drive. But Google Drive is free until you reach like a certain point, and then maybe like you want to use more space, and then you have to pay. Also with what else? Like I'm having a lot of these words coming up in my head right now, but I'm gonna try and like simplify it. And also with OneDrive, you also get some storage in gigabytes. Oh, shucks. Okay, this is bad. I should have brought my tablets to write on. Um, okay, and then they give you that space to use. But if you reach a certain point in that storage and you want to like use more, then you pay a certain fee. But with Azure, it's different. You pay for what you use, but we're gonna get to that point. I don't want to like dive deep into it. What I'm trying to like put out right here is to like show you what is cloud. So with the cloud, if you want to maybe like access maybe a Visual Studio, then you can create a replica of a computer on the cloud, and then on that cloud you can access that as in maybe like you're using your own machine, but you're actually using some sort of mimic inside their servers. So they have servers, or like big computers, I should put it, big computers that they give access to the public to use for a certain amount. I hope that makes sense. I've spoken about a lot of things. I hope it makes sense. Anyway, let's continue. But if you are lost, please say so. You can just open your mic and then say so if you are lost. If you're lost somewhere, and then I will try and explain. I'm trying to like do like the simpler terms. But if you're all okay, you can just do a thumbs up or just raise your hand. Please. Thank you, Uncle Dave. All right. So let's continue. So what is cloud computing in terms of Microsoft? So cloud computing is the delivery of computer services over the internet. Yeah, that's the other parts that I left out. So yeah, as to deliver computer services over the internet, you can't do it like for free. Just like even now we are using Teams. Teams is cloud-based, but we are accessing its services to do this meeting or this bootcamp training using their services. All right. And enabling faster innovation, flexible resources, and economics of scale. So cloud computing is a model for enabling on-demand access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources. You will see how in a short while. Resources like servers, network storage, applications, and services, just like how I was playing with Ubuntu operating system on Azure. And it is rapidly provisioned and released with minimal management efforts or service provider interaction. So like most of the stuff that you use there, Microsoft, what they do, they manage it for you. So you don't have to like go through the trouble of configuring most of the things, or maybe like let's say buying some computer components so you can build up your machine. They handle that for you. The only thing that you just do is just to configure only. You don't have to build like a lot of things like building your own computer. No. So they have compute, networking, storage, and analytics services available to you. So we were talking about the cloud models. So the first one that we have that we're going to speak about. Oh, by the way, please, before I just continue, like a lot and lots and lots and lots, where you're able to access your books on SkillPipe.
Yeah, I managed.
Okay, are you on your book right now?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So what I'm just like going through right here is also available in your book on SkillPipe.
Yeah.
All right. So what are public, private, and hybrid clouds? Um, so a public cloud is owned by cloud services or hosting provider, just like AWS, Microsoft, IBM, and Google. So those are public clouds. And then we have, okay, they provide resources and services to multiple organizations and users. And then it is accessed via secure network connection, typically over the internet. And then we have the private cloud. The private cloud is created by organizations in their own data centers. When you talk about data centers, is like maybe a place where you have like these big computers that you own and they are not owned by other people. So for a private cloud, you have like your own computers, and those computers, they have resources available for maybe like the employees of the company only, but not people outside of the company. Just like in at Tegwini municipality, they had like their own private cloud and they were using their own services. So if maybe the computers or those computers had a fault, then they will have to like make payment for those uh, components that became faulty, and then they have to replace it by themselves. So it's owned and operated by the organization that uses cloud resources. organizations create a cloud environment in their data centers. Sorry. And self-service access to computer resources provided to users within organization. Organization is responsible for operating the services they provide and does not provide access to users outside of the organization. So if you're a person that is outside of the organization, you cannot access the resources for their private cloud. So even if, what is it? Mandisi, is it MMI Holdings? I forgot, I'm sorry. So if MMI Holdings wants to like create their own private cloud, we as outsiders cannot access it. All right. And then we have what we call a hybrid cloud, a hybrid cloud. So the hybrid cloud combines the public and private clouds to allow applications to run in the most appropriate locations. Maybe let's just make an example of, let's say I have an application that is stored on my own private servers, but because it is used by people inside the organizations and people outside of the organization, then I need to bring in the public part of it, maybe using other cloud platforms, whether it's Microsoft Azure, AWS, or IBM. It's just like that. So hybrid cloud models have the what is this? Have the following characteristics. So they have resource location, and it is cost and cost and efficiency, and then you have control. So some of the parts that are in the hybrid cloud, you are able to control yourself as an organization, and some parts of it are controlled by the other third party, which can be Microsoft Azure or AWS, but etc. I'll just put it like that as an etc. So we have the cloud model comparison. So now we are comparing the cloud models so you can be able to choose for yourself, right? So with the public cloud, there is no capital expenditures to scale up. What they mean by capital expenditures, you don't have to pay before using. You only pay after using. It's like pay as you go. And then applications can be quickly provisioned and deprovisioned. That means that you can create applications or maybe delete applications without having to like go through like a lot of troubles. And organizations pay only for what they use. It's just like pay as you go, right? And then with the private cloud, hardware must be purchased for startup and maintenance. So like in your organizations, technicians or people who are like infrastructure specialists needs to like have a budget at hand to say that, okay, this is what we want to buy. This is what needs to be like brought in for us to be able to build up the data center. And if maybe there's a fault somewhere along the line, there has to be so and so money to buy the replacements, you know. And then organizations have complete control over resources and security. So no other third-party organization controls the resources and security. You are responsible for it yourself. So there's nobody else to blame. People like blaming people, but this time around for a private cloud, you cannot blame anybody else but you. And then organizations are responsible for hardware maintenance and updates. Yeah. And then with the hybrid cloud, it provides the most flexibility. Organizations determine where to run the applications, and organizations control security, compliance, or legal requirements. Right. So it's a 50-50 type of responsibility in a hybrid cloud. Cloud benefits and considerations. Okay. I hope you are also seeing this in your skill pipe book because, yeah, it's also on the skill pipe books. Hmm. Uh, yeah, it's also available on your skill pipe books. Okay, cloud benefits, objective domain. Uh, you will be able to identify the benefits of cloud computing, such as high availability, scalability, elasticity, agility, and disaster recovery. Okay, these are just like big words, but we're gonna go through them shortly, and then we will be able to identify the differences between capital expenditure and operational expenditure. That goes to accounting. If you've done accounting, then you'll notice CapEx and OpEx. And then we're going to describe the consumption-based model. Okay, so let's go through straight to the cloud benefits. So with the cloud benefits, like I said again, it's those big words, but those big words you need not to be afraid of them because they are just cloud terms. Okay. So there's high availability. Availability. Oh gosh, my English. High availability has the aim to ensure an agreed level of operational performance, usually uptime for a higher than normal period. Okay, with high availability, what they mean is that your systems are always available, the resources are always available. The same with the cloud platforms. The services are always available, even with their service level agreements. If they say 99.9%, that means the, the availability is that so, like they ensure you and guarantee you that their service will always be available to you. There's only one tiny bit of chance that it's gonna drop. And then we have scalability. So with scalability, it is the ability to increase or decrease IT resources as needed to meet changing demand. You know, maybe like I was talking about storage. I hope I don't bore you too much with talking. Welcome, Nosihle. Thank you for joining us. Let's continue. Okay. So with scalability, what we mean is that you know how your phone, I'm just gonna make an example with the phone because my phone is right here and it was telling me about a problem that I'm running out of storage, that bummer message, that train smash kind of message. Um, so with scalability, it means that if maybe my program or application requires a lot of storage or requires a lot of memory access, then the cloud platform will be able to scale it up higher or decrease when I don't need it anymore. That's what they mean. So the cloud platform is able to like increase the memory access or decrease it according to the demand of the application. I hope that makes sense. And then we have global reach. Global reach means that I can access the their resources anywhere in the world, whether I'm in Tokyo, Italy, where else? Whether I'm in Nigeria, I can access their resources wherever I am. That's why they have data centers like almost everywhere in the world. And then there's agility. Agility, people who are in development, they know what is agility. So agility refers to the ability to rapidly develop, test, and launch software applications that drive business growth. So that is agility. And then disaster recovery. Disaster recovery is, with this stuff like high availability. Let me just like point that out that high availability disaster recovery, fault tolerance, and elasticity. They are somehow linked together, and at most cases, you will find them a lot in the exam if you want to take the exam after this. So, disaster recovery, sorry for my English, also refers to a service that helps you quickly recover your organization's critical systems after a certain disaster. So that disaster can be maybe like, let's say there was some problem, maybe like a brownout or something more than a brownout, and then your systems fail. But the cloud platform will be able to give you access to other resources that you can use to recover your systems. Okay. That can be like maybe to back up your systems or mirror your resources so you can be able to do the next point, which is fault tolerance. So fault tolerance refers to the ability of a system to continue being operational even when one of its components have failed or become faulty. If maybe like I'm using a certain computer to do like, let's say, store application files, and that machine or computer becomes faulty and doesn't want to start up, or yeah, and then the other system or other mirrored computer or virtual machine becomes available to store the application files or that database for that application, something like that. And then we have elasticity. Elasticity is similar to scalability. It's the ability to quickly expand or decrease computer processing memory and storage resources to meet the demands without worrying about capacity planning and engineering. Okay, fine. English is killing me right now for peak usage. Engineering. Yo, God. All right. And then we have customer latency capabilities. So with customer latency capabilities, it's the ability to be able to reduce the latency for customers when they are using the resources. So if customers are experiencing slowness with a particular cloud service, that is when we say that they're experiencing latency. Okay. How can I make an example of latency? But if you know what is latency, you can just like show your hand, because I truly don't want to bore you. So just to like maybe give us an example of what is latency. I don't want to be like the only one speaking. Like I said, I'm more of a facilitator than a trainer. Hello. How guys, come on. It's like I'm speaking alone here. Hello. Okay, let me just continue then. All right, so latency is like maybe when you're using, okay, let's just say you opening a certain website and then it takes a long time to load. That is latency. So how is Microsoft Azure fighting latency is by them having multiple data centers and multiple regions. So when you're creating your resources, you only create resources in the regions that are near you to fight off latency or to decrease the latency, you know let's say maybe like you create your resources in the East US region, or build your resources or provision your resources, that's the name, provision your resources in the East US region or data center. And you experience latency because this thing is traveling through the net and it takes longer for the data to reach you because you're in South Africa. So that is latency and it takes longer to load, you know. Um, and then they also provide you with predictive cost considerations. That's when you get the calculator to, okay, not only the calculator, but when you're provisioning your resources, it tells you like how much it's gonna cost you per hour. So you can be able to calculate that by yourself and know how much money you have to pay at the end of the month. And then we have security that refers to the security of the services or the resources you use in Azure. Yeah. Okay. Before we continue, I just want to know if we all understand that. And thank you for joining us, Tabo. Welcome. Oh, yes, Messiah.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, my name is Topsile. So no, I wanted to explain the latency.
Yes,
So I'm not sure if I'm correct. To me,
it's okay.
yeah, okay. I wanted to say it's a delay of data before it reaches its destination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say because I think when the data is being transferred, there's always gonna be those obstruction. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
On
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
way, as for us, as when we are communicating, you know, when you're talking to someone,
Mm-hmm.
maybe there can be someone who's talking to that person won't hear you.
Just like over the phone, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Until
That,
yeah, yeah.
that is
That's
correct. Sorry to cut
yeah.
you off.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm glad that I'm talking to people here, so not that I'm speaking alone, but thank you very much. All right. Before we continue on to CapEx or OpEx, I just want to know if you all understood what those terms meant. You can just show a thumbs up, and so we can continue. Should I continue? Okay. Right. Okay. So when it comes to creating your cloud resources, there's something we call CapEx or OpEx. Um, CapEx is like when you building your own private cloud, just like I said, that you pay upfront. You only pay upfront, and when there's a fault in the infrastructure, then you have to pay for more, you know. So CapEx or capital expenditure is the upfront spending of money on physical infrastructure. Costs from CapEx have a value that reduces over time. Yeah. So you deduct the expense from your tax bill, high upfront cost, but the value of your investment reduces over time. And then we have operational expenditure, which is pay as you go. You only pay for what you use. So you spend on services or products as needed, and you get billed immediately and deduct the expense from your tax bill in the same year. No upfront cost, you only pay as you use. Pay as you go, pay as you use. Yeah. So that is also available in your books, on your skill pipe books. And for those that just joined in, you should have received two emails, one from SkillPipe and one from GoDigitalSA. The one from GoDigitalSA gives you the credits that you can use on Microsoft Azure. And the other one from SkillPipe is for you to be able to access your book on SkillPipe. Thank you. Okay, the consumption-based model. So cloud service providers operate on a consumption-based model, which means the end users only pay for the resources that they use. Um, whatever they use is what they pay for. It's better cost prediction, prices for individual resources and services are provided. So when you are selecting the resources that you want to use, you actually see the price for it on that platform. So you will know how much you need to pay at the end of the month. Billing is based on actual usage, but we're gonna show you in this bootcamp. And there's also a pricing calculator. That's like the best thing ever. So you'll know how much you need to spend on resources. Okay, cloud services. So now we're on cloud services. So this is our objective domain. We're gonna describe infrastructure as a service, also describe platform as a service, describe software as a service, or we can say like EAS, PaaS, SaaS, and describe or identify a service type based on the use case, and also describe the shared responsibility model, and describe serverless computing. So let's just start with infrastructure as a service. So infrastructure as a service, you build pay-as-you-go IT infrastructure by renting servers, virtual machines, storage, networks, and operating systems from a cloud provider. So they give you all these things like the servers, the VMs. Okay, VM is a virtual machine, storage, networks, and operating systems, just like how you do it on what's this word, on a physical premise or premises or on premises. That's the other word that we use for, that's a technical word, like on premises. If you say on premises, that means it's physical. That's a physical infrastructure. So with EAS, it's just like that. But then the only thing is that it is virtual. You cannot like really touch it. So the cloud service provider provides you with those resources. You get like your own servers that you're gonna use. You get your own storage that you're gonna use, and then you get like networking resources and operating systems that you can use and configure by yourself on however you want to use it. So you control like all those resources. Yeah, with the infrastructure as a service. So it's the most basic cloud computing services category. And yeah, it provides you with instant computing infrastructure provisioned and managed over the internet. So if you're offline, you cannot access those resources. You need to be on the net. You need to have internet access. So the examples of infrastructure as a service, we have Microsoft Azure, Google Compute Engine, and then Amazon Web Services. Oh, and also IBM Cloud. I cannot forget that one. And then we move on to platform as a service. So these are just like some models that you need to understand if maybe you are using the cloud platform and you planning on provisioning some certain systems for your company. So with PaaS, PaaS provides environment for building, testing, and deploying software applications without focusing on managing the underlying infrastructure. So with infrastructure as a service, you control the servers and storage, networking, firewall, security, and data center, physical plant, building, all that stuff. But with platform as a service, the cloud platform itself controls all those things for you. You know, they control all those things for you. So it provides environment for building, testing, and deploying software applications only. And it helps create applications quickly without focusing on managing the underlying infrastructure. Okay. So the examples for those are, if you have used Heroku before, I tried Heroku when I was trying to, but it was only for websites development. So I didn't do it for like app development, but I'm gonna try it still. We also have the Google App Engine, which is an example of a platform as a service, and OpenShift and AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So it's mostly for deploying applications that is platform as a service. Okay. And then we have software as a service. This one you have been using for like a long time. If you have Google, then you know what is software as a service. You've been using like the Google Sheets. What is that for documents, just like Microsoft Word. That is software as a service. They give you the software as a service, just like the word is saying it by itself. Okay, so users connect to and use the cloud-based apps over the internet, for example, Microsoft 365, email, calendars. So all that stuff that is not basically on your computer but is in the cloud, that is the software as a service. All right, I hope that makes sense. What else? Um, Yeah, even the chat apps like Facebook. Facebook is a software as a service. Yeah, I can put it that way. So if you have Facebook, you have been using a software as a service. Yay! Right. So now let's compare. So with EAS or IaaS or infrastructure as a service, it's the most flexible cloud service. You configure and manage the hardware for your applications. And with PaaS or platform as a service, it focuses on application development. For those who are developing applications, Tabo, you owe me an application. I'm kidding. And then platform management is handled by the cloud provider. So everything else is handled by the cloud provider. So if there's any faults in their systems, you have to blame them. You can play the blame game with them. And then with software as a service, you pay as you go. Okay, but all of them, it's just pay as you go pricing model. And then users pay for the software they use on a subscription model. Right. So now, just to look at the diagram by itself. So the green part is what you manage. Okay. The green part is what you manage, and then the blue part is the cloud provider that manages that part. So on premises, private cloud, Mandisi, that part, you yourself, you take care of that part. You take care of the storage, networking, the compute, the virtual machines, the operating system, all of that you pay for yourself. If there's a fault, you pay for it. Nobody else manages it for you. Okay. And then with the infrastructure as a service, they manage the basic stuff or the base, the infrastructure. Okay. And then you only what is this? You manage the operating systems, the runtime, the access or the data in it. Yeah, and then the security that they should have put up there, okay? And then with the platform as a service, you only manage the data access and the applications. The other stuff, the virtual machines, they handle that for you. And then with the software as a service, just like how you're using your Google, what is this? Google Drive and OneDrive, the data and access, that is all for you. If you want to share with other people, that is all you. Yeah, that is it with the cloud models. I hope everybody understands. If you okay, yes, Messi, your hand is still up. Hello, Topsile. Okay, so before we move on, I just want to know if everybody understands. Just want to know if everybody understands. Hello, are we still here? Thank you, Banele. Thank you, Tabo. Thank you, Uncle Dave. All right, so just like we said, yes, Tikezo.
Oh, I understand.
All
The
right,
hands up.
all right. So with those that are still struggling with their skill pipe, please let me know. Yeah. So we're just gonna take a short break, but I'm still gonna be here, a short break, and then we're gonna come back at 11:05. Just try and do this.
Thank you.
Just put that there. Yeah, my timer is on. Anyway, if you're still struggling with your skill pipe or redeeming your Azure Pass or Azure Code, you can just let me know. Okay, we are back. I hope you drank water and you went to the toilet. And now we are back. We are back. I hope we are all here so we can continue. Yes, Messiah, thank you. Oh, I forgot. Top Sealy. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. All right. Let's try and continue. So with cloud computing, there's also something that is called serverless computing. Serverless computing enables developers to build applications faster by eliminating the need for them to manage infrastructure. With serverless applications, the cloud service provider automatically provisions, scales, and manages the infrastructure required to run the code. So that's where they involve what we call elasticity and scalability with the serverless computing applications. Okay. And in understanding the definition of serverless computing, it's important to note that servers are still running the code. So you put the code right there on the serverless resource, which can be Azure Functions or Azure Logic Apps. And the serverless name comes from the fact that it takes or that the tasks associated with the infrastructure provisioning and management are invisible to the developer. It is only visible to the cloud provider. This approach enables developers to increase their focus on the business logic and deliver more value to the core of the business. Okay, all right. And that's where we come to the end of our module 1. And on our module 1, we were able to learn about what Microsoft offers when it comes to public, private, hybrid cloud models, so you can build based on your needs. And then we also learned about high availability to elasticity to disaster recovery, and then to pay as you use the benefits of the cloud. And then we also learned about EAS, PaaS, SaaS, the serverless and the combination, and then the shared responsibility when it comes to the cloud models. Before we move along to core Azure services, I just want to know if there's any other thing, Abo, that you would like to know before we move on. Did we all understand what we just spoke about in module 1? I don't like leaving you in the dark because I don't like the dark myself. Yes, Topsile.
Yes, can you please explain again the serverless computing, please?
Okay,
Yeah.
so with serverless computing, it's just like can I just say maybe like it's like platform as a service, but then with that you only upload your code onto the
Oh.
systems and then they handle the other stuff. You only just handle what you need to be changed only when it comes to code on your applications.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So can we move on? All right. So now we are going on to module 2, which is the core Azure services. And this is also on your skill pipe books. Okay. And it also covers what is in the exam, which is the AZ 900. Okay, so the outline, you will learn the following concepts. It is the Azure architectural components. You're going to learn about regions and availability zones, the subscriptions and resource groups, favorites, and then the core Azure resources, which is compute, networking, storage, and then the databases. I know that there are developers in the house, so yeah, this stuff is for you. Okay, so with the core Azure architectural components, that's our objective domain. We will describe the benefits of the usage of the regions and region pairs, availability zones, Azure resources, resource groups, Azure Resource Manager, subscriptions, and then Azure or Azure management groups. Yeah. Okay. So let's start by the regions. So I don't know if I have to zoom in there. If you're able to see, but we can zoom in, it's fine. Let's do this. Yeah, those are the regions. So where there's a blue, it's an available region. Where it is like dotted outside, it is unannounced region. And where there's like a blue and a white on the inside, it is an availability zone. Okay. So a region represents a collection of data centers. So just like in there, maybe like let's say right here, South Africa West and South Africa North, those are regions. These are regions right here. We just do the laser. So these right here are regions in South Africa. And then they provide flexibility and scale. They preserve data residency and then select regions close to your users and be aware of region deployment availability. And there are global services that are region independent. So just like I was saying, when it comes to latency, it's better to choose the region that is closer to you so you don't experience a lot of latency. Yeah. So Azure offers more global regions than any other cloud provider with 60 plus regions representing over 140 countries. Yeah, but that is not part of the exam, but it's just good to know. Okay, and then we have what we call region pairs. So region pairs is like at least 482.803 kilometers of separation between region pairs. And it also enables automatic replication for some services to just avoid, to enable fault tolerance, just like I was saying that if you are having maybe a hosting company and you store like people's websites on those machines, then you can enable region pairing. So just in case maybe if one of the regions have become faulty, then you can be able to like your data can be moved to another region and then you can continue being operational. And then prioritize region recovery in the event of outage. Just like I said, updates are rolled out sequentially to minimize downtime. Yeah. All right. And this is also available on your skill pipe books. And then we have what we call availability options. So availability options, we have what we call the single VM, which is like an easier lift and shift. We have availability zones, and we have region pairs. Yeah. And then the virtual machine service level agreement for a single VM is 99.9% with single premium storage. And then with the virtual machine service level agreement for availability zones is 99.99%. I'll show you later how to calculate that when you have to like calculate the uptime and downtime for the service level agreement. And then we have what we call the region pays, which is the multi-region disaster recovery plan. Okay. And then the availability zones. So availability zones provide protection against downtime due to that data center failure and physically separate data centers within the same region. Each data center is equipped with independent power, cooling, and networking, connected through the private fiber optic networks. So those are availability zones. And these availability zones, they're actually like just like how you see right here on the diagram. So if you have like information on this availability zone one, it is shared across the multiple other regions, you see. So just in case maybe availability zone one goes down, and then availability zone two and availability zone three, they do have the data available so that you can continue being operational. Then we have the Azure services or Azure resources. Why I keep on saying services? It's Azure resources. So Azure resources are components like storage, virtual machines, and networks that are available to build cloud solutions. So we have virtual machines, storage accounts, virtual networks, app services, SQL databases, or SQL, depends on how you want to say it, and then functions, which are the serverless computing resources. And then we have the resource groups. So resource groups are like a container or a bucket to manage and aggregate resources, just like how you would put, let me just think of something, how you would put pens, rubbers, and pencils in a certain box. Those, that is an example of a resource group. What else? What else? What else? Maybe if somebody has worked with, what is this? With an Active Directory has something we called an OU or organizational unit. So the resource group is actually something like that. Okay, so the resource group, it contains resources. Okay, resources can exist in only one resource group, and resources can exist in different regions. Yes. Resources can be moved to a different resource group. Yes. And also applications can utilize multiple resource groups. But we will show you that also when we're doing the walkthroughs. And then we have what we call the Azure Resource Manager. So the Resource Manager provides a management layer that enables you to create, updates, delete resources in your Azure subscription. It's like the Azure portal, but you will see it later on. And then we have what we call the subscriptions. So the first thing that you need in order for you to be able to use the Azure platform, you need to have a subscription. You need to have an account, and then you need to have the subscription. That's why you were given that code to redeem on Azure Pass so you can have a subscription. Okay. So in Azure, subscription provides you with authenticated and authorized access to Azure accounts. There's billing boundary and access control boundary. The billing boundary generates separate billing reports and invoices for each subscription. And then access control boundary manage and control access to the resources that users can provision with specific subscriptions. So the other thing that you need to notice that one account in Azure can have multiple subscriptions, but a one subscription cannot have multiple accounts. That's how it works, okay? But you can share your subscription with another person, but that's not just saying that you can have two owners on one subscription. You can share the subscription, but you cannot have like two owners. Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, right. So now we're gonna just do the walkthrough on how to access the Azure portal. And I just want to know if you were able to redeem your code so we can see. Let's start. Just gonna close my screen and then share it again so I can show you. Right. Okay, where's this? Right, I hope you can see my screen. So on your screen, what you need to do is just type portal.azure.com. Just put on the HTTPS, the beginning. Are you also following along? You can enable your mic and just speak. Okay, we're just gonna open up Azure. It's opening. All right, so it's just gonna give me this that I don't have a subscription. I don't know why, but it comes with other problems when you have multiple subscriptions on one account. So I'm just gonna go there and just switch. Okay, this is how a typical home screen would look like. This is how a typical home screen would look like. And yeah, the notification of my Azure credits remaining. Okay. So these are the resources that are available or the services that are available. If you want to see more services, you can just click on more services and you'll be able to see. These are only just like the featured services. Okay. So we have services for general use, which is like the all resources management groups, resource groups. Yeah. And then we have like the compute resources or services, which involves most likely virtual machines. I don't know why I said most likely, but okay, yeah. Virtual machines, VM image classics, and yeah, this is what is on the compute side. So the compute side, when they say compute, they actually mean something like a virtual machine, right? And then with the networking services, on the networking services, you can build like your own virtual networks, your load balancers, just to like balance out the traffic onto your services. Ouch. Okay. And then we have storage. The web is also available for you, mobile. Yeah, web services right there. The containers are like VMs, but more efficient than a VM. They don't use like a lot of storage. They don't use like too many resources, just containers. Databases. Yeah, most databases are available. If yeah, just say it like that and put it like that. For those that are used to working with databases, and then we have like analytics for those who are doing maybe like let's say machine learning or data. Okay, I shouldn't say data engineering. Yeah, I could say data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. This is right there for you, and also the AI plus machine learning. And there's also services for blockchain, Internet of Things, but you can like explore it there by yourself. So this was just only the walkthrough to see like the services alone. So if I want to go back home, I just click right there on that and go back home. Okay, but the other stuff you can we gonna check it out later. There's also settings. Um, settings. Yeah, appearance. Let's go back to appearance and put it as the Azure setting. So you can have the one that you have on your side, but yeah, I like the dark one. It makes me look like I'm a developer, but I'm not really a developer. But yeah, it makes me look like I'm a developer. So let's just leave it as that. And this is for notifications. Right there is to manage your subscriptions and directories. And this right here is like the command line interface. Yeah. Okay. Right, let's go back to our presentation. So we have done our walkthrough. Okay, just fix up something. Just give me a moment, please. Sorry, okay, I'm back. All right, let's continue and then look at management groups. So management groups can include multiple Azure subscriptions. Uh, Maybe like, let's say you're working for a certain IT company and other users in the company have their own subscriptions. So you can have something we call a management group to manage those multiple subscriptions. But if you don't just have like a multiple subscription or a management group for those multiple subscriptions, you will have a problem. Okay, so yeah, management groups can include multiple subscriptions. Subscriptions inherit conditions applied to the management groups. 10,000 management groups can be supported in a single directory, and a management group tree can support up to 6 levels of depth. Yeah, depth. So you have a management group with subscriptions and then resource groups and then the resources. Yeah. And then we have the core Azure workloads on this objective domain. So we are done with the other one, the other objective domain, and now we're going to look at the workloads. So with the workloads, we're going to describe the benefits and the usage of the virtual machines, Azure App Services, Azure Container Instances or ACI, Azure Kubernetes Services, AKS, and Windows Virtual Desktop. So virtual desktop is like the remote desktop service. Okay, and then we're gonna look at virtual networks, VPN gateways, virtual network peering, and express routes. And then we're gonna look at containers, like the blob storage for storage on Microsoft Azure, disk storage, file storage, and the storage tiers, like the hot and cold. Is it cool or cold? Yeah, something like that. And then we're gonna have to look at the Cosmos DB for those who are in development. Cosmos DB, Azure SQL database, Azure database for MySQL, and then Azure database for PostgreSQL. I still cannot pronounce that, Postgre. Okay, then SQL management managed instances and the Azure Marketplace. Yeah. Okay. So with the compute services, Azure Compute Services is Azure Compute is an on-demand compute service that provides computing resources such as disks, processors, memory, network, and operating systems. So with those, we have virtual machines, app services, container instances, Kubernetes services, and the virtual desktop. Cool. So with a virtual machine, I hope you have worked with a virtual machine before, but a virtual machine is like a mimic of a certain physical computer somewhere else. So that is a virtual machine. A virtual machine are software emulations of physical computers. It includes virtual processor, memory, storage, and networking, and infrastructure as a service offering that provides total control and customization. So right now, we're just going to take a walkthrough on how to create a virtual machine using the Azure portal. Yeah, so just do that right now. Okay, let me just close this command shell. So as you logged in on your Azure portal or portal.azure.com, how you create a virtual machine, then we're gonna just go to create a resource right there. Create a resource. And it just shows me the virtual machines as I come right here. So I'm just gonna type in virtual machine. And here we are, just gonna click on this virtual machine. I hope I'm not too fast. And then I'm gonna click on create the virtual machine. So right here, I will have to select the subscription that I want to use. So I only have one subscription available. And I have to select the resource group where I want to put my virtual machine in. So like we said, a resource group is like a container for our services or resources. So I'm just gonna say create new one. I'm gonna say Azure, okay, say DSAF, Azure 1. We put it there. And maybe the virtual machine name, we can just say, maybe put it like the same name as the resource group, it's fine. Say GDSAF VM. Yeah, maybe in small letters, VM. And we're gonna select the region that we want to store our resource in or create our resource in. So I'm just gonna select the one that is nearest to me. So it's South Africa North. I'm gonna put it right there. And I will have to select like the availability options. So there are no availability options. There's only availability sets, but I'm just not gonna select that. And I'll have to select like the image that I want to use. So there's like different types of images that are available to us to use. I am gonna use the Windows 10 Pro for my virtual machine image. And then I'll have to select the size. So the size, it's still loading the prices so you can see. This is what we're talking about when we say that it gives you the price. So it gives you like a calculated price. So maybe at the end of the month, I'll have to pay this much money for my virtual machine, but only if I use it. If it's online, so they're only like calculating the usage. If it is online and on and operational, this is how much I have to pay in total. We can also see like all sizes, and we can select by the processors that we want, the RAM that we want, the number of disks that we want, the max IOPs, input output processing system. I hope I'm saying it right. Operations, and then the temporary storage, and if the premium disk is supported. Okay, so for me to have like the fastest one, let's say we need, even if we put this one, but no, Steve, yo, 6K. Uh, let's just use this one. Select, and then I'll have to give it a username. So the username for this one will be, say, I cannot use admin because admin is part of the default users. That's the other thing that you need to be to note of. Maybe I can just say admin VM. Ha ha ha. Yeah, admin VM. And then the password. So the password needs to be 12 characters. 12 characters, and it needs to include a lowercase, uppercase, a number, and a special character. Okay, right. Let's try this. Boom. I hope it matches. Yay. Okay. And then we have to select the public inbound ports. I'm just going to leave it as all selected ports. Okay, let's just say that I have, and also select the inbound ports right here. Just gonna select RDP alone because that's what I'm gonna use to connect to my virtual machine. And then say next. I'm gonna leave all this as defaults, networking, defaults, and just go to review and create. So on review, it's just like to check whether all my settings are correct. Yep, there you go. So it says validation passed. And here we are, and then it tells me like per hour, this is how much I'm going to be charged per hour. This is how much I'm going to be charged. And just to review all the settings, if they are as I put them, I have to remember my username, it's admin VM. So when we are connecting to it. So now I'm just going to click on create, and then we have to wait. So it's going to do that deployment and create all the resources that are going to be needed by my virtual machine. Are we still together? Thank you. So we're just gonna wait. Let's just check right there. It has created, okay, it's still creating the virtual machine, which takes a bit long. And it says created the network interfaces, just like your NIC or the NIC, like the ports. It has deployed an IP address for it, and it has put it on a network security group and on the virtual net. Okay. So now we're just going to wait for the VM to be fully deployed. And it will notify you when it's done. So deployment in progress. Sometimes it does take long. Yo, I didn't expect it to take this long. Okay, so now it's done, and it shows me right here that it is complete, and also on the notification, pair, panel, or pane. So we're gonna go to our resource. Sometimes these things take long, but yeah, all right. And then for us to connect, it's already started. It automatically just like starts on by itself, so it's already booted. If I want to restart, I can restart right there, or stop it right there, or capture the image, or delete, refresh, or open it on my mobile device. Okay. These are all like the settings for it, the properties, just like how we give it, the name, the operating system, the IP address. This is our IP address. This is the public IP address. If you want to connect to it, we can connect to it using this IP address. This is the private IP address, only for internal use on the cloud platform. And we can see that we have 2 CPU cores available for us, and we have 8 GB RAM. Yeah. So those are like the settings that we have monitoring. We're monitoring the health of our virtual machine right here. Yeah, if you want to like see more tutorials on virtual machines, you can get them right there. The recommendations, capabilities, Azure policy, security, the auto shutdown, there too you can like set up the insights, backing up. Yeah, those are the stuff. So now we're gonna just have to connect because we were told that we need to create a virtual machine, connect to it, and install the web server role and test. Oh, shucks, I should have created a Windows server, but now it's fine. We're not gonna install the web server. Okay. All right. Now let's download the RDP file so we can just connect to it by just clicking and inputting the username and then password. Ooh, I forgot the username. Let's go back there and check. Did I really forget? How is this possible? Maybe I'm getting old. I should have captured it, but I can run this one. It's already there. Oh yeah, let's open it first. Let's turn it on. I'm really getting old. I'm thinking like a lot of things right now. Let's try. Uh, yeah, it's bad. Please remind me the username. We were creating it with you.
Oh, we can't remember as well. You,
Sorry?
I can't remember it on my side.
Oh, guys, come on.
Can we play back maybe the recording?
Ooh. So let me cancel this one and just run this one. This one is the one that I usually use, so I hope I don't get it. One is like admin 123. Yeah,
Let
there we go.
Oh, okay. Wait, it didn't say admin VM.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yes, because you were explaining like you can't use admin.
Yeah.
Was
Eish.
it was it a
There are like
username or
a
a
lot of things
password?
going in my head.
Or a password, I forgot, but it's admin VM. You wrote something like that. I don't know, but by password.
Oh, we can still open it. Uh, what's this thing? Okay, let me just copy this. What's this IP address? Let's copy it and run remote desktop. And let me just change this right there. The username, you said it's admin VM, eh?
Yes, I don't know if it's a username or a password, but you wrote something like that. Admin VM. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's connecting. All right. So this is just the certificates to say whether you trust it or not, but we trust it anyway. Thank you, totally, thank you.
Okay, no problem. You're welcome.
Okay, let me go back here and close the other one. This one I need to close. It's demanding a lot. Okay. Let's just try. Sorry. So I'm opening this one. Are you able to see it? Are you able to see the screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
So this is just like, it's just like how when you're opening up your new computer and you have to like choose the privacy settings for your device. Okay, no, it's fine. Just say accept. And here we are, we got the browser opened. Just like on a normal computer. You set up and continue without signing in, and there we are. We have it. But this one, it doesn't have the apps and like, let me say like the Microsoft Office apps, but the other apps are available. Yeah. So we are not going to install any web server role. It's gonna take a lot of time. And for here on Windows 10, I would have to install other features to operate as a server. So I'm just gonna stop right there. But on your side, when you are practicing, you have to create a virtual machine that has an image of a Windows server. It can be 2016 or 2019, it's up to you. So I'm just gonna close that there. Or maybe just like shut it down like a normal computer. So shut down and out. Okay, so you saw how to create a virtual machine, eh? Hello?
Yes, I did. And it's so
Yes.
amazing because like I'm seeing like new things now. Because last time I remember I once created it, but I didn't see that that desktop part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now it's like, yeah, it's a new thing for me and it's amazing. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks.
That's great news. Okay, so let's continue with our presentation. Um, we just done the walkthrough. The only part that I didn't cover is, and I'm feeling guilty about it, but it would have taken time. I know these server things. It takes time to like enable the IIS feature role and then test it. Ish. Anyway, let's continue. So we also have what we call the Azure App Service. And then again, we're going to go through on how to create an Azure App Service. Okay. So on the Azure App Service, it is a fully managed platform to develop, deploy, and scale web apps and APIs quickly. It works with .NET Core, Node.js, Java, Python, or PHP. It's a PaaS offering. It's a platform as a service with enterprise-grade performance, security, and compliance requirements. I would have loved, really, really loved to go through it, but we can, it's fine, we can. Let me just share my screen again. Sorry, guys.
Don't you maybe have a VM that you already installed the services on?
No, this one doesn't need a VM. It doesn't need a VM.
No, I'm asking that you have already installed the services so that you can just take us through that. Okay, this is the services.
It's better to show you how to create it because you might have a problem. So I'm just gonna show you how to create it and then just move along with the others, and then we're gonna go back to it and check.
Yeah, I don't think shortcuts will work. You have to know
Yeah,
where
you
it
have to see.
started because you're gonna get confused. I've been there, I know it.
Yeah, but the steps are also available in your book. So, but let me not rob you. I will not rob you. Okay, so let's just share the screen. Okay, so how we're gonna create our web app using the Docker container. We'll have to go to create a resource, and then on those resources we have to select let's say say web app. Looking for a web app. There we are. We have it. So that's the web app, and then create. Yeah, the web app settings are similar, but this is gonna be quick. It's gonna be quick. I'm just gonna select like the GDSA F1 and give it a name. Let's call it maybe my Docker. Let me just put on 1P right there. Okay, that's not available. App 123. 123 is not available. Say 2021. Ha! XX1. Yeah, thank you. Okay, and then for the publish, it should be a Docker container. And we're gonna select Linux instead of Windows. And maybe, okay, in South Africa it is available, South Africa North. And then the app service plan, the plan we need to select. Okay, we're gonna leave it as, but maybe your subscription does not enable you to create with this plan. So I'm just gonna maybe check whether we have another size. Say dev and test and select, okay. Okay, in the selected region, it's not supported. So I'm just gonna select this one, then say apply. Yeah. Okay, and then review and create. And it's loading the estimated price. So while we wait, we're just gonna take the short break and then come back at 12:05. That's what we agreed upon with our timetable for today. Oh yeah, it's a 15 minutes break, eh? Yeah, so we're gonna take that break and then come back.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right. So we are coming back at 12:15, so we can continue. So you can grab your coffee. I don't drink coffee, by the way. I'm a green tea person. You can grab your coffee.
Green tea person, eh? Hey,
Ah,
you.
people in IT drink coffee, but me, I'm different.
So you're a green tea person, eh?
Yes, green tea or
Yeah.
water.
All right. I can see it, eh? Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
All right. So we're gonna come back at 12:15. You just say create.
Letu, for for
Hello.
for the spec picker, should we do the B1 or look for B2 of B3? And what is the difference? It's just the space, the memory space.
When it comes to,
Spec picker, I think for Linux.
oh, I know you can use any, but you need to be able to control your credit usage.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you know after how to control it.
Okay, cool.
All right.
This is not money, right?
It is money, but you can't withdraw it.
Okay.
You can't withdraw it. It's just money that you can use on Azure.
Okay. To know.
Okay, are we back? Is everybody back? So we can continue. Hello.
Sibuyile. We are back.
Abu. Thank you. All right. Just playing around here. Okay. So we are back here as we were creating our web app. So it has been created. Now I need to go on to my resource and then we have to test our web app if it is working. Right, so on our overview, what we need to look for when we are testing whether our Docker web app is working, we just look for the URL and our URL is right here. I hope everybody is back. 15 minutes is like a lot of time. Kidding, but yeah. So I'm just gonna copy it right here on this icon, copy it and then open it on another tab. And open the URL. Just wait for it to load. It should open up. Obviously, refresh. Uh, and there we go. So this is the default web page on our web app. So from here on out, then you can continue developing your web application and deploy it using the web app. So this is how you deploy a web app on Azure, on the Azure portal. And the other thing that I wanted to note out, in order for you to not what is this that I wanted to say? To not experience a lot of charges on your subscription, you need to delete the resource. I cannot delete the resource group because I've been using it on a lot of applications right now, on a lot of resources. So what I need to do is just stop the resource, and it has been successfully stopped. And let's just go to this guy right here and see which things belong to it. So for the web app there's only one thing. So we're just gonna click on it and then delete. Just type yes. But when you delete the resource on your side, like the resource group, you need to type the resource name in full and then confirm. But for me, so when you delete the resource group, you just delete it from there. And just type the resource group name and then click on delete. But I cannot delete my one because there's a lot of things on it. So yeah, that's how you delete the resource or resource group. Yeah, so we can continue. Okay. Are we okay? Hello.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that we're still okay. All right, let's continue. So the other thing that we have is what we call the Azure Container Services. Container services are just like a lightweight virtualized environment that does not require operating system management. That's the difference between a container and a virtual machine. A container doesn't necessarily need like a base of an operating system, just like a virtual machine. You can just deploy it without the base operating system. So an Azure container instance, it is a PaaS offering that runs a container in Azure without the need to manage a virtual machine or additional services. And then we have Azure Kubernetes Services. It is an orchestration service for containers with distributed architectures and large volumes of containers. So Kubernetes Services contains containers. It's like a bucket of containers. Yeah, so maybe one of these things you might come across them if you will do like data science in future. So you will use like a lot of AKS if you are in data science, if you're a data science person. Yeah. Okay. We were gonna deploy a container, but because of time, maybe we can come back to this. Uh, okay, a container is just like just like when you deploy a virtual machine, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We're just gonna pass it for now. I'm trying to like cover up some time. And then we have what we call, luckily this one doesn't have. I'm kidding. I don't want to rob you anyway. So we also have what we call a Windows Virtual Desktop. I usually say that the Windows Virtual Desktop is like running a remote desktop on your computer. So it is a desktop and app virtualization that runs in the cloud. It doesn't necessarily need to be physical, so it runs in the cloud. You create a full desktop virtualization environment without having to run additional gateway servers, but you need the internet. Publish unlimited host pools to accommodate diverse workloads and reduce costs with pooled multi-session resources. So maybe if you like want to build up like a virtual machine with the multi-session or like multiple users using it, you can use a Windows Virtual Desktop also. So yeah. And then we have the Azure networking services, which involve the Azure Virtual Net or VNet, the Virtual Private Network Gateway, VPN, and the Azure Express routes. So the VNet enables Azure resources to communicate with each other, the internet, and the on-premises networks. And virtual private networks is used to send encrypted traffic between an Azure virtual network and an on-premise location over the public internet, just like how you'll use VPNs at work. So if you have a VPN set up, this is how it also works, but this time around it's virtual. It's not like a physical device or a certain software that you need to like plug in onto your computer, but this one it is virtual and is available on Azure. And then for the Azure Express route, it's like how can I put this? It's like tunneling also with VPNs, but it enables connection between the okay, it extends on-premises networks into Azure over a private connection that is facilitated by a connectivity provider. Uh, Maybe like let's say you want to load on data onto a Azure resource, maybe then you use an express route to avoid interference in the net or in the traffic. I could put it that way. I'm trying to find like an easy explanation, but no words are coming up. Maybe tomorrow. Okay. So this one, it was for us to create a virtual network so we can try creating a virtual network. I will create a virtual network, but I already have one. What is happening here? Okay. I'll try creating one because I already have multiple virtual machines already. So what am I looking for? What am I looking for? Right. So for us to create the virtual network, just go back to home and create a resource. And let's go to networking. We are looking for a virtual network. So we're gonna create our virtual network this way. So you search for virtual network and then click on create. And it has to have a resource group, but I'm just gonna say new VNet one. And maybe the name also will be VNet one. I'm just gonna place it anywhere else. Maybe just place it at okay, I'm just gonna use South Africa. South Africa node. So the IP addresses, the IP space is 10.3.00. Okay. All right. See. And then create. So it's been created. Right. Okay. That's done. And now we need to get our virtual machines hooked up on that VNet. So let's try the client. Maybe I can use another one. This one is 10.2. But they need to be like on the same virtual network. That's the thing. They need to be on the same VNet. So this one is on VNet 1. I mean like one net. I mean that you can change. Not possible. Right. Save one. Okay, this one is also on one net. We have another what's this? Another virtual net besides VNet one, which is one net. So I will just try and show you. Let's go to resource groups and go to one net. So I can show you what I'm talking about. So on one net, we have this this virtual network right here that we have, it's called OneNet VNet. So if you look at the icons also, they show you this is a virtual network. This is a disk, this is a network interface, this is a security group, and right here, this is the IP address and the virtual machine. So all these virtual machines are using OneNet VNet. So yeah, there's all these virtual machines right here that are using it, and all on the same IP address. So we're gonna try and connect to two of them maybe, and test the connection. So you're gonna try the client at first. And connect to the client. Because that's what it was said, that we need to create a virtual network and then create two virtual machines, but we already have virtual machines and then test the connection. So I'm just gonna try this, download this guy, open it. I hope I still remember I hope I still remember the what, the username. Okay, so we are able. Just wait for it. Yeah, here we go. Okay, this is the client, and we have to try and open up this other one. OneNet, there's also try serve 2, it's a server, and connect to it. Are we still together, guys? I hope I'm not losing you too much. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just following up before.
Okay. Sabo? Mandisi.
So I'm still here.
All right.
I am here.
All right. Okay. Able. Why is it going bad now? There's something wrong. Something is wrong. Let's try serve 1. Could it be that I forgot again? The client is in. This one is using Windows 10, not the server. Ay, ay, ay. Now this is bad. Okay, more is a different one. Maybe it's admin VM. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Right. So what you're gonna do here is just to test the connection, just like normal technicians do by using ping. So we're gonna ping these machines together. So this is the server. And what I need to do is to run CMD. So I just open up the run and open up CMD. And on a server, it always opens up with administrator privileges. And then I'll have to type in, not ping, it has to be IP config to check the IP configuration. And for this one, it ends with a 4. So I need to note that down, that it ends with a 4, right? So it's 10.2.0.4. Then I have to open up the other one, which uses Windows 10, not the server. Oh yeah, and also here too, uses the administrative privileges. So it's IP config /all. I need all the configurations. Okay, and then this one ends with a 6. So now what I need to do, because I know the other one ends with a 4, right here, this is what I'm talking about. This is the IP address of this virtual machine, and the other one's IP address is 10.2.0.4. So they are in the same network, which means I won't have much problems when I'm testing the connection. So we're going to use ping 10.0, 10.2. What am I saying 0 for? 0.4. And there we go. So our ping test is responding. So the other computer, when I'm pinging, it's responding back. And packets that are sent, it's 4 and received 4 back, and there's 0% loss. So we're gonna try that again too on our other machine. This one that ends with a 4, and say ping 10.2.0.6. And it's responding very well. I'm sending the packets and I'm receiving packets back. So it's all good. So that's how you create a virtual network, and then your virtual machines need to be on the same VNet also. And then how you test the connection, you check first with IP config. And this is what you need to note down, and then test the connection using ping, P-I-N-G, on your CMD. So I'm just going to shut this down to avoid extra charges. Ibu. Sorry about that, guys. I accidentally pressed my own shutdown button on my physical machine. Eish, be careful to not do that in a production environment. Okay, let's continue. Sorry about that, fam. Okay, so let's continue along. Is everybody okay?
Yeah, I'm
All right.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I accidentally shut down my own PC. Ish. Hey, luckily I was able to like quit before it shut down completely. Okay, so for storage services, we have the container storage, which is the blob. They call it a blob because it's I don't know. I call it a blob because you don't do much to it, but just only like save whatever you want to save on it. So it's optimized for storing massive amounts of unstructured data, such as text or binary data. And also, we have disk storage, of which we use for virtual machines, applications, and other services to access and use. And then we have Azure Files, sets up a highly available network file shares that can be accessed by using the standard server message block. You know how you share your files on a typical network? Um, Maybe like let's say you in a company and you're like all using the same network and then you share a file. When you share a file, then that person can access that file if they're on the same network. So this one is an Azure file that can be accessed using the SMB protocol over the network, over the internet actually. Yeah, it needs internet access. Yeah. So it's similar to the one when you are sharing on a typical network environment at work or a physical network environment. Then we have other um, tires. Okay, not other tires. It's just tires for our storage access. We have the hot access tire, which is optimized for storing data that is accessed frequently. So if you are always using it, then you use the hot tire. There's also charges for different tires. If it's hot, then they charge you more. But if it's cool, it's optimized for storing data that is infrequently accessed. Oh my English God, and stored for at least 30 days. So you use the cool tire if you don't like use data that is on that storage for like if you don't like frequently use it, if you don't like use it at all times, then you use the cool storage tier. But if you store data that you know is going to be used a lot, then you use the hot tier. Then there's archive that is optimized for storing data that is rarely accessed. So maybe you can also use like a blob storage on Azure if you want to back up your data. You know, like your information. If maybe like you have videos that you need to be backed up somewhere, you can just use the blob storage and archive your videos there. Yeah, so it is optimized for storing data that is rarely accessed and stored for at least 180 days with flexible latency requirements. We can create a storage and I can show you how to. It's really, this one is really easy. It's really easy. I do have storage available, but I can show you how to create it. This is the easiest one. The easiest. Hey boo, Tabo is gone. Okay. Just gonna go back to, see, is this? Oh, it's gone. It's, sorry, just give me a moment. Still logging back in. Mm, so I'm still logging back in. And while I'm logging back in, it requires me to, I'm using the authenticator. Nice things. So you can't hack my account if you don't have my phone. Even if you try, if you don't have my phone, you can't. Let's just say stay signed in. Okay, so we are back here and I'm just going to show you how to create the storage account. So we're going to say create a resource and look for storage. Why is it not clicking? Storage. And we're just going to create like a simple storage account. Just gonna create a simple storage account. And yeah, so from here, we can click on create. And cannot select the defaults. It says group for JNP. I don't even know what is that. So I'm just gonna use OneNet. And then the storage name, say OneNet storage. Oh yeah, I need to use lower cases. OneNet. hope that works. And then from here, I have to select between the standard or premium, but I'm just going to select standard storage account. And then from here, I'm just going to leave everything as default and then review and create. Yeah. Are we still here?
Yes, you're still here.
Thank you. All right. So it's creating. Okay, now I have to go to the resource. So it's using the hot tire for my blob service. It's using the hot tire. Let's go to containers. You see, you got containers, file share. You can upload anything that you want here. We also have for queues and tables, but I'm just gonna go to Storage Explorer. And blob containers. Should load up. Okay, let's just create a blob container. This one is private. Say maybe for pictures. I don't have pictures, but we'll try lower cases. Say pictures. Or yeah, pictures. Or maybe presentations. I'll just upload this presentation right here. And then access level, say blob. Instead of making it private or a container, just use blob and then say create. So now we have created a blob storage and we can upload something onto it. So we have created it and now we have to upload. And if there's already an existing one, we can just say override. So we're gonna upload the presentation, then click on upload. So now it is uploading and now we can see it right there. We have our presentation uploaded on our blob storage. Okay, let's go back to OneNet. Storages. Okay, a storage account. Here we are. Storage Explorer, blobs, and presentations. And now we can finally see it. It's right there. If you want to download it, you can download it from here, create a new folder, or delete from here. Yeah, so that is how you create a storage account and create a blob container and then monitor your blob container. Right. Okay, so back to our presentation. Okay, so for those that are doing application development or database management, there's also Azure database services. So we have the Azure Cosmos DB or database, which is a globally distributed database service that elastically and independently scales through throughput and storage. English. And then Azure SQL database, which is a relational database as a service, um, or DAS. So there's a new word now, DAS. So remember, you have ES, PAS, and SAS, and now you have DAS, database as a service, based on the latest stable version of the Microsoft SQL Server database engine. And then we have the Azure database for MySQL. There's a difference. There's SQL and MySQL. It's a bit different. And then we have the Azure database for PostgreSQL. Whew. Yeah. And then for Azure SQL Managed Instance is the intelligent, scalable cloud database service that combines the broadest SQL Server database engine compatible with all the benefits of a fully managed and evergreen platform as a service. It is fully managed and it preserves all the past capabilities. So there's automatic patching and version updates, automated backups, and high availability. It also has, there's also exchange existing licenses for discounted rates on SQL managed instance using the Azure hybrid benefit. So yeah, so if you choose to use the hybrid model, then uh, there's Azure hybrid benefits available for you. Yeah, when you're using the Azure SQL managed instance. So we were going to go through like, so there's one part that okay, it was the containers, right? That we left out. And now we're gonna leave out the creating of an SQL database. We're gonna come back to these, right? So I'm just gonna note down, like put down on my notes that if we get the time, we're gonna go back to it. So it's the container walkthrough, just gonna write it down. And then now it's the SQL database walkthrough. Okay. Then we have what we call the Azure Marketplace. So the marketplace allows customers to find, try, purchase, and provision applications and services from hundreds of leading service providers, which are all certified to run on Azure. It has open source container platforms, virtual machine and database images, application, build and deployment software, developer tools, and much more with 10,000 plus listings. So the Azure Marketplace is the one that you saw when we go to like, when we click on create a resource, that is the marketplace. So you choose whatever you want to use on the marketplace from there onwards and then deploy your resource and then use it. So that was the end of our module 2. So we looked at how Microsoft provides more global presence than other cloud provider with over 60 regions distributed worldwide. We looked at the Azure management tools. And then we looked at Azure multiple services, which are compute, networking, storage, and databases. And then we just spoke about the Azure Marketplace. So now we are moving on to the last module for today. I'm just gonna cut, okay. No cutting. So we're just gonna take a short break right now, which is gonna be like 5 minutes. Yeah, and then come back. All right. Are we okay?
I'm good,
Tigeto?
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get
Totile.
oat or something.
Sorry?
So I'm going out for a minute and I'll come back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's go and drink water and then come back. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. I just drank water and now I'm back. Are we still okay? Boom, boom, boom. Luckily, there's no load shedding today. Thank you, Lord. All right. So module 3 is also available on your skill pipe books. Yeah. We're gonna be talking about core Azure solutions and then management tools. For Azure solutions, we're gonna look at the IoT to Azure Sphere and Synapse Analytics to Databricks, and then AI and machine learning, okay, artificial intelligence and machine learning. And then we're gonna look at the management tools which involve the portal of which we have seen. We were using the portal to create our resources. And again, we're going to look at the PowerShell. We're going to look at the command line interface and the others. The others meaning that there's also mobile device application that you can use for managing your resources using Azure. And then we got the advisor, the monitor, and then service health. Okay, Azure solutions. Yeah, just to describe the benefits and usage of the following, which is IoT Hub, IoT Central, Azure Sphere, Synapse Analytics, HD Insights, and Databricks. This is like going through to like the data science field mostly. And when it comes to also artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this is the stuff that we're gonna see now. Okay, so with the Azure Internet of Things, it is okay. IoT is the ability for devices to garner and then relay analysis. So together, that's what garner means. Together and then relay information for data analysis. And then we have Azure IoT Central. So IoT Central is a fully managed global IoT software as a service solution that makes it easy to connect, monitor, and manage IoT assets at scale. So if you have like IoT devices that you have like in different places, you can use Azure IoT Central to manage those devices and monitor them, connect to them, turn them off or turn them on at scale. That's what at scale means. Like if they like in different places. Yeah. Then we have the Azure IoT Hub. It is a managed service hosted in the cloud that acts as a central message hub for bi-directional communication between IoT applications and the devices and managers. So it's similar to the central, but it is bi-directional communication that happens between the IoT applications and the devices. Okay. And then we have the Azure Sphere. It is a secured high-level application platform with built-in communication and security features for internet-connected devices. So this one, the Sphere, is more based for the built-in communication and security features. Then this is the other one that I'm just gonna leave out because it also has more stuff that needs to be taken care of. So I'm just gonna write it there on my notepad that we are gonna do it later. So it's the IoT Hub. Okay, just want to like complete with the theory part and then we go on to the practical. So we also have services for big data and analytics. So we have the Azure Synapse Analytics, which was known as the Azure Data Warehouse way before, but now it's called Synapse Analytics. So if maybe like you will take the exam after this, you might find that they still call it the data warehouse. but they truly mean it's Azure Synapse Analytics. It's a cloud-based enterprise data warehouse service. And then we have the Azure HD Insights, which is a fully managed open source analytics service for enterprises. So they're all for analytics, but you just like need to choose which one you want to use. And there's also Azure Databricks. So Azure Databricks is based on Apache or Apache Spark for analytics. So Databricks is also like a standalone service, but it is brought in onto Azure, and also AWS also uses Databricks. So it's not basically from Microsoft, but it is Databricks on its own. And but then Azure and AWS use it as part of their services. And then we have services or resources for artificial intelligence and machine learning. So we have a resource called Azure Machine Learning, which is a cloud-based resource to develop, train, and deploy machine learning models. Maybe for our other trainings, for like maybe AI fundamentals, we'll also look through how to like operate the Azure machine learning. I hope we do get sponsorship for it to do it for free. And then we have cognitive services to quickly enable apps to see, hear, speak, understand, and interpret a user's needs. The cognitive services is like the foundation of the AI itself, just like how you get a camera that can tell if a person is smiling or they're angry. Yeah, you use cognitive services to enable a feature like that on your app or on your device. Then we have Azure bot services to develop intelligent enterprise grade bots, just like a chatbot. So if you have worked with a chatbot before, the Azure bot service is similar to a chatbot. Okay. And then again, the serverless computing just likes showing up everywhere. Okay, so we have the serverless computing, which is the Azure Functions and the Azure Logic apps. So they're just repeating what we just spoke about on module 1. And then the walkthrough again, I'm just gonna like put it down on my notepad to just say Azure Functions that we're gonna do when we get time. So yeah. But also you can also just practice after the session. You got the book and you got the credits. I'm available if you need assistance, and I'm just gonna put down my, oh yeah, I'm just maybe just gonna call it out because you don't have the chat feature on your side. My WhatsApp number, I'm available at all times. Only on weekends though, but weekdays it's really, really busy. Okay, so then we also have services that enable you to develop your apps on Azure DevOps, GitHub Actions for Azure, and then Azure Dev Test Labs. Yeah, so Azure DevOps is for development collaboration tools, including pipelines, Kanban boards, and automated cloud-based load testing. I won't lie, I've never used Azure DevOps, but I'm looking into it. I really need to learn it. And then we got GitHub available on Azure. If we have ever done like basic app development and used GitHub as your cloud storage, then you would know what is GitHub and how to use GitHub. There's other there's guys they're called Microsoft Student Learn Ambassadors Oh, Microsoft Learn student ambassadors, they usually cover on GitHub and how to use GitHub and other Microsoft services. If you would want me to connect you with them, I would connect you with them. And then we have GitHub Actions for Azure to automate software workflow to build, test, and deploy from within GitHub. And then Azure Dev Test Labs. So this one is just like an instance of a virtual machine. You just quickly create an environment in Azure while minimizing waste and control cost. So it's just instances to help you um, create like to quickly create environments, maybe for development. If you are a person that develop apps, then you can just like quickly create a virtual machine that has all the applications that you need. If it's Visual Studio, you will have Visual Studio right there. If you need like what is this? Getting Anaconda for data science, you will see Anaconda already deployed in your virtual machine. So that's what the dev test labs are for. And then we have the management tools. So with the management tools, we're going to describe the functionality and usage of the Azure portal, the PowerShell, the CLI, which is the command line interface. I hope I'm not too fast. Uh, then we have the Cloud Shell and the Azure mobile app. I wish I could be able to show you the mobile app, but I will try and download it while we are on this topic. And then we have the Azure Advisor. So the advisor helps you to uh, it shows you like some recommendations on your portal or on your systems that are deployed on Azure, on the Azure platform. And then we have the resource manager. The resource manager, it is what helps us to like deploy our resources, just like how we used the one on creating a virtual machine. You know how when I just click on create, then that's the Azure Resource Manager template. And then we have the Azure Monitor, which monitors what happens to our resources. And then we have the Azure Service Health, which tells us whether our resources are still up and running or there's a fault somewhere. Okay, so the management tools available, we have the Azure portal, and then we have the Azure PowerShell, the Azure mobile app, the command line interface. Some use the Azure REST API, the REST API, whether they want to use it on Visual Studio or other editors, you can just link in the REST API there and just deploy your resources onto Azure. And then we have the Cloud Shell. So the Cloud Shell, CLI, and PowerShell, they're a bit similar, but the difference is the Cloud Shell is available on the cloud, and then the command line interface is on your computer, and then the Azure PowerShell is also on your computer. And then we have the Resource Manager. This one too, we have done this one. We have done this one, but we didn't use the Azure Quick Start Gallery, but we have created a virtual machine using the okay, not the templates, but there are templates available on your book. You can check there on your book. There's a template available. So I'm just gonna skip this one. Also, there's like a lot of walkthroughs here, and I'm just gonna also skip this one. It's just like it's in your book. Um, I don't want to cheat you, but it's in your book. So let's just like give us some time to do this. So this is the one creating a VM using PowerShell. creating a VM using the CLI, which is the command line interface. And then we look at the advisor. The advisor. I'm just looking at time and just saying, like, if you're gonna do the walkthroughs, maybe you're gonna finish at 3. So the Azure Advisor, it analyzes deployed Azure resources and makes recommendations based on best practices to optimize Azure deployments. So it looks at the reliability of the resource, the security, the performance, and the cost. So with the advisor can actually make recommendations to minimize the costs and the operational excellence, to like increase the operational excellence. Yeah, so that is the advisor. Wish I could show you, but I will. Yeah. And then we have the monitor. So the monitor, it maximizes the availability and performance of applications. I hope you're still there. All right, everybody's still there. Awesome. And maximizes the availability and performance of applications and services by collecting, analyzing, and acting on telemetry from cloud and on-premises environments. So when they speak of telemetry, it just collects data on services that are deployed, whether it's on the cloud or on premises, and then it analyzes those that data or that information collected, and then it shows you the insights of your application. So it shows you application insights, log analytics, smart alerts, automation actions, and customized dashboards. I will also show you the dashboard when I'm done here. So I'm just going to put that down on my notepad again. So it's dashboard. Yeah. But there's more like activities on the book again. So, and then we have the Azure Service Health. So the Service Health, it's evaluate the impact of Azure services with personalized guidance and supports notifications and issue resolution updates. And then it starts to, okay, what am I saying? It collects, analyze, and act on telemetry from cloud and on-premise. And then it starts collecting data as soon as you create an Azure subscription and add resources. And then it also has activity logs also, just like the monitor, and record all resource creation and modification events. And then the service held again. It provides a personalized view of health of Azure services and regions being used. Communication regarding outages, planned maintenance, and other health advisories. Yes. So if you wanna search more about it, there's also more about it on your book, your skill pipe book. I keep on emphasizing on that. It seems like we're gonna have more time to go through to do the walkthroughs and yeah, the practical side. Okay, then we have the Azure Resource Manager, or the ARM. Its templates are JavaScript object notation or JSON files that can be used to create and deploy Azure infrastructure without having to write programming commands. So it has declarative syntax, repeatable results, orchestration, modular files, built-in validation, and exportable code. We can also create our own ARM when we are creating a virtual machine. Okay, so I can also try and show you that also, but let's say, let me just put that down on my notepad again. My notepad is becoming full. Right. And that is it for our module 3 and our session for today, but we're going to continue with the walkthroughs. Right. So we spoke about the Azure services, IoT, big data, analytics, and development tools. And then we spoke of the Azure Resource Manager and then the monitoring tools. But we're just going to go back again. Guys, are we still okay? Are we still okay? Are we still okay? Banele, you have been quiet the whole time. Okay. So, which work through? Okay, it's the container. It's the container. It's the container. So we're gonna create a container instance.
I don't think you're sharing your screen if.
No, I'm gonna share my screen.
Oh, okay. I thought
I'm
maybe.
gonna share my screen. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna share it soon. Yeah, here we are. I'm gonna share my screen. And yes, I am sharing it. Okay. What are we creating again? It's a container. We did do the container instance. We did do the container, deploying an Azure container. And we opened up an app, not an app, we opened up a web page using it. And we just did create a blob. So right now we're just gonna do the SQL database. Ne?
Okay.
We're gonna do the SQL database. So just sorry guys. Okay, now I'm in. All right. So we're gonna go back here. So the other things that I wanted to show you is that when we go to more services, this is the marketplace. This is the Azure marketplace where you see everything. I mean, like everything. This is the marketplace. Even if you go right here, this is the marketplace. It's similar. So we have everything right here on the marketplace. This is the marketplace. And I keep on saying that like it's a song. Okay, so this is the marketplace, and then so on our marketplace, maybe we're gonna look for SQL. You should say SQL only, so you can see. Just looking for a basic one. Yeah, Azure SQL. This is what I'm looking for. And then I'm gonna click on create. So we are creating a Azure SQL database, not the managed instances and not the SQL virtual machine. We just need a single database. Right. But in order to have one, we need a server first. So we're going to create a server. And we're going to put it on GDSA Azure and give it a name. Server. Yeah, it's already been used. So server, or maybe just put on GDSAF server. Yeah, that's it. And I can put it anywhere, or I can just check if South Africa is here. Let's just represent South Africa. And then I have to have an admin. Can't use admin, but 123. So that's gonna be my default admin login. And then the password is the long password. 12 characters. Long password. Does it match? Yes, thank you. So now we're gonna review and create SQL Server. And no additional charges because we have not created that database itself. It's just a server for now. I'm using another method creating an Azure SQL database. That's what I'm just noticing now. But we can just continue with this one. It's gonna take some time. While we do that, let's also create the Azure IoT Hub, ne? Because we also needed to go through on how to create the Azure IoT Hub. So, okay, so it's done. Let's just go to it. And now we need to create the SQL databases. So we need to create the database right there. So you have options to create a database, an elastic pool, or new dedicated SQL pool. Cannot import a database because I don't have one. So to create a database, and this is where the charges come in because we're just gonna use more and more stuff. So SQL DB. And we do not want to use an SQL Elastic Pool because we don't have one. Maybe here we can configure the database. We can leave it as provisioned. Provisioned just for general purposes. Okay. And maybe our data max size, we don't have any, just maybe use a 1 GB is fine. We don't have much anyway. And the vehicles, only 2 vehicles, it's fine. Let's say basic. Yeah, basic is fine. I don't want to spend like a lot of money. I don't want to spend a lot of money, so I'm just gonna use the basic tie. It's fine. And then backup, we can just say geo redundant because the other ones are still in preview. So from here, say review and create. Yeah, right. So fine. Now we have it. Now we have it all. Now we're creating the SQL database. Oh man. Yeah. I forgot to do other steps because this one is empty, but I needed to add a sample database to test on. Aish. Okay. Then go back and create another database. So back to the server, because I don't think it's possible now right here to just add the stuff. Like, it's not easy. So we're just gonna have to create another one. Sorry for taking your time, but in order for us to see this happening, I'm gonna have to say maybe SQL DB2. Okay, all right. Configure and select basic. We do not want too much. Do not want too much. Okay, so networking. Add current client IP address so I can be able to access it. Yeah, and then security. Not now. Additional settings. This is the part that I accidentally left out with the first one. So I need to have a sample database available for us to test on. And yeah, that is all. And then we can create our database. Okay, thank you. So now I need to go into query editor and it is asking me for my server password, the one that we created. And I have to log in and select a certificate. Okay, so when this happens, you don't have to be alarmed or be afraid of whatever is happening. It's just normal. The only thing that we need to do, okay, let's say whitelist my IP address, my public IP address onto the firewall rules and then click OK. So now I'm in. So it was not whitelisted, it was not added onto the whitelist. Right, but the other way of doing it is going back to the overview. I don't have any edits here. Can go back to the overview. Not this overview. I think it's the overview for the server. So back onto the server overview. And there's a part that is missing around here. Or maybe they've changed it. There's a part that is missing. Yeah, firewall and virtual networks. So from here, you can just add your IP address by clicking add client IP address if it is not recognized by the server. So you can just add it right there, but I'm just gonna discard because I've already added my IP address. So let's go back to our databases, open up this basic one, query editor. I have to sign in again. Add already signed in. Okay, so now we are here and we need to test now our our database. So on our database we have tables. These are all the tables that are available. Build version, and there's like different views and stored procedures. But we're not gonna dwell much on that because we're just learning the fundamentals. So I'm just gonna like paste this short script for selecting 20 names as category name. Okay, like this is name as category name and product name from the sales table, and then join it with sales products. Yeah, right. And then on PC, product category ID, which is equals to the product category ID for the other table. And run it, and there we have it. These are the results. So our SQL DB is working. That's what it means. It means our SQL database is working. So if you get the results, that means your SQL database is functioning. And again, when you are done, it succeeded with 0 seconds. This is how I love working with a cloud platform. No, I don't have to like use my own resources, because when I use my own resources, there's like a lot of latency. Anyway, that is how you create it. And then again, don't forget, guys, to delete the resource groups after you are done. You have to delete the resource groups, or if you are using one resource group, you have to delete the resources inside the resource groups. Are we still together? Hello. All right. Thank you, Tikezo. Thank you,
Yes,
Tabo.
yeah.
How? Man, DC, it's been a while. Okay, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, sir. Okay, so the other one that we wanted to check out is the Azure IoT Hub, and how to use the Azure IoT Hub. So we're gonna go on ahead again and look for, let's say, let's look for IoT. For IoT, and it should come up. IoT Hub. IoT Hub. Okay, here we are. This is our Azure IoT Hub, and you're just gonna create it. And then from here, can we just create a new one? Say GDSAF IoT. IoT. Guys, GDSAF is GoDigitalSA Foundation. Don't be confused a lot. And then my IoT hub, I'm just gonna say maybe call it IoT. Let's see. Okay, it's not available. So let's say GDSAF IoT again. Right, it is available. Networking, public endpoints, all networks. And then the management, the pricing tier. We can just use the basic tier. So the costings, the cost per month, it's 183. Let's see the standard tier. Yeah, the basic tier is fine. Basic tier is fine. Device to cloud partitions, you can leave it as 4. Yeah, okay. Right, and then say, yeah, review and create. And then create. Just gonna wait for it to complete. Whilst it's still there, let's just look up Raspberry Pi simulator. See if this is the one. Okay. And because we don't have like the actual Raspberry Pi to use on our IoT hub, so we're gonna use the Raspberry Pi simulator. Okay, say next. It's done. Yo. Okay, now it's done. So from here, right. What is this? I'm looking for, okay, IoT devices. Then from here, we're gonna add an IoT device. So we're gonna add one, and then we're gonna give it a name. We're gonna give it a name, say maybe a Raspberry Pi. So it is available. And see, symmetric key. It's just for like authentication. Say connect this device to an IoT hub, yes. There's no parent device, so you're gonna auto-generate the keys anyway. And then click on save. All right, so here we are. And this is what you need. All this, the primary key, secondary key, primary connection string, all this is what you need to connect to this guy right here. So we're gonna replace some lines, like the line 15, just like it's saying, and then run. So this is the code that we have right here on this side. So what we need require wiring. So line 15, your IoT device connection string. This is where we're gonna like replace it. I don't know why it's doing this. Okay. So we're gonna use the connection string, the primary connection string over here. So we're gonna go back and copy it and come back here and then paste it. That is our connection string. And after that, we just gonna have to click on run to see if it works. So there we go. So now it's running. It's running. And if we go back to our hub, go back, this resource, and then on overview, we should be able to see the activity of the device. Let's just refresh and see in 1 hour. Let's try and do something to it. Okay, for a moment, cannot do much. Let's just wait for the results. It should be picking up. Okay, let's say stop. Go back and check. Refresh. There's no data yet, but this is how you monitor it using your IoT devices. Okay, let's run it again. Message sent to IoT Hub. There we go. Now we have a spike right there. So it is working. Connection string is working. The only thing you need to just connect to your Raspberry Pi simulator is the connection string. Yeah, guys. And we have run out of time. And again, let's just say maybe we're gonna use okay, I will send you guys an invite that you need to use for tomorrow's session. Is that okay? I will send it to your emails.
Yeah, that's okay.
Wait, Tiketo is sleeping. No, I'm kidding. Okay, guys, don't forget again to delete your resource groups after trying out something, okay? To control your credit consumption.
Okay.
All right, so that is it for today. Uh, I needed to have like an evaluation form, but I forgot to create one. But okay, we're gonna have it tomorrow. And thank you again for joining, guys.
Thank
And
you
yeah,
for the lessons. It's been
I really
Thank you
amazing.
very
appreciate
much
it.
also to you too for taking your
Yeah,
time.
awesome. And I hope we learned, guys. I hope we learned.
Did you send an
Yeah,
invite
thank
for
you.
tomorrow already?
Sorry?
I don't see tomorrow on my calendar.
It is on the poster and on the form that you registered on, but I will send you on your emails a link,
Okay.
a link
Okay.
for it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, man. Much appreciated.
All right. I hope this
Thank you.
was, I hope it was informative.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was for me. I didn't know anything about Azure, so this was like my
Mhm,
entry level. So and then now feel like I know what it's all about and all
mhm,
the services that comes with it, which is quite cool.
mhm. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you very much. So we will see each other tomorrow then.
Okay, sure,
Bye, guys.
Captain.
Cheers.
Uh,
Have a great afternoon
Okay,
and
sharp.
practice. Practice, practice, practice.